keeps us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Weird. Is it just me, or is this whole RCS thing just screwing everybody up? Yeah, it's screwing everything up. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Festivus. You know, you want to know the best thing about today? Is that we no longer have to talk about what we're going to do for the holidays. Stay sober. Oh my God. Every meeting. Change the topic a little. Just a little. Stands for real something something. But it has to do with the phone calls and the texting. It's like live conversation. It just looks funky. Funky. Good to see you, Chris. Merry Christmas. Just hung out with my family for an hour and 45 minutes. It's longer than I lasted last time. So progress, right? You know, and it's not like people go out of their way or do anything. I don't feel like I belong there. I have a hard time. You know, my other brothers and sisters talk all the time, so they have these running jokes and stuff, and I feel real lonely when I'm there. I try and start conversations. I try and be, but I can only do it for so long before I'm just discouraged and don't really want to. So and it's not like people are going out of their way to be rude or anything. At least that stopped, right? So, but all in all, it was good. I gave my brothers extra long hugs to make a point to them. They're like backing off. I'm like, no, we're not done. So, Orson had a great time. So, that's what matters. Orson had fun. So, let's do introductions, and then I have a letter that I'm going to read. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I need more clothes. I don't have enough. I don't have enough nice clothes to do everything. That's a good problem to have. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Hey, Gary, good to see you, man. Good to see you. I thought you might be working today because of your job, but I wasn't sure. No, you guys aren't open every day. I thought it was a 24-hour. I don't know what I was thinking. But I have a letter that was written to me from my grandmother that I kept. Right. My grandmother passed away a few years ago. But I'd like to set it up before, kind of set up the story before the letter. So my grandma had come out for Shannon and I's wedding. Okay. And I was drunk. Okay. I wasn't buzzed. I was drunk. I was the only person drinking. That I know of. Maybe other people were sneaking drinks. Okay. Why my mother? I think my mother allowed that just because it was my birthday, my wedding, and she didn't want to disrupt it. Thank you, Mom, for doing that. By the way, I have to remember to thank her for that. My grandma was there, and I kind of made a fool of myself. I think. I don't know. I don't totally remember. When we left, I did not drive. So, but this letter came to me October 12th, 2012. So this would have been about 4 or 5 months after our wedding. About 4 or 5 months. All right. Now, 2012, okay, I have 7 years. Doesn't, so, you know, but this letter was one of the things that made me decide that it was time to start working on not drinking. It would take me about 3 years. Well, this is 2012. I got sober in 2016. It would take me 4 more years to get totally sober. One point in there, I had a year, I think a year and a half. So here we are. Dear Dion, and it's in cursive, so my kids can't read it. I might cry, I might not. Please feel free to laugh. Okay? My grandma is funny. Okay? My grandma was like me, I guess you would say. I'm writing to you because I can express better on paper than I can orally. Yeah, because if it was orally, she would have said, "Fucking Dion." She would have said, "Dion Glenn, get your ass over here. Get your ass over here." You're going to think I'm an interfering old lady, and I didn't feel that way at all. I could never be mad at my grandmother. But I'm your grandmother, and I love and care about what happens to you, so that gives me the right. Does that sound familiar to anybody else? Yeah, okay. Dion, will you please, please, please check yourself into a rehab center and get the help you so desperately need to lick this addiction you have? I'm not going to be on this earth too much longer. And my dying wish is to see you sober and living a happy and fruitful life with your wife and children. Well, that's all I'm going to say, so the rest is up to you. I love you, Grandma. And before she passed, I was able to give her that gift. Okay. And I'm reading this because you need to know. Okay. I get really tired of people saying you got to get sober for yourself when you got to do recovery for yourself. It was hard for me to get sober for myself. Every time I tried to get sober for myself, I failed. I needed more depth and weight. Okay. Number one, it was my grandma's dying wish. My mom obviously wanted me to, but I could not look in my wife's eyes anymore. And knowing that I was the one fucking up, I knew it was me. You bet. I had the knowledge. Okay. There's nothing worse than hurting your wife over and over again when you're trying not to. It's an out-of-body, stupid experience that I will never, ever, ever want to go through again. Okay? But the power of other people can help other people get sober. I don't know how many times I've been talking to a young man, and he says something like, I didn't think of it that way. See, we can make unwilling people willing just by talking and sharing our own experience. Okay. There's a lot of times I've talked to young men. Okay. This is usually what I do when I work with a man. I find out first off who loves him, who loves it, who he loves. It's probably his mommy. Okay. Or he has a favorite auntie, maybe his daughter, maybe he's close to his cousin. But I'm going to find somebody, hopefully a female, that he is attached to. Okay. Why am I going to do that? Because I'm going to use it against him. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to use it against him. Not against him, but for him. That's when I say, you want to know what the best present I gave my mother? I got sober. Now she doesn't have to wait for that 3:00 phone call in the middle of the night saying, hey, Mrs. C, your son's dead in a ditch. I can tell you, that punches through, man. We've got to talk like that. Okay, we got to give them the business. Now, that doesn't mean we're mean, that we're rude. It means we've been there before. The best gift I gave any of the people in my life was sobriety. So when I go to Christmas and I say I'm the present, I mean I'm the present. I am. My presence is good enough. So, all right, we're gonna do Keys of the Kingdom now. Keys of the Kingdom is one of my favorites. I usually save it for when I tell my story. That's how I finish it. I will be telling my story January 19th. I've picked me as one of the speakers for our January 19th. And right now I'm looking for a female speaker. I've got a couple in mind, but I need a very, very good female speaker. I want a female speaker that's going to blow me out of the water. That's what I want. Okay. I'm a very good speaker. So, and I think they're going to let us use the sanctuary for the meeting itself. And that'll be rock on Chicago. They said that I could use the sanctuary. So AA is not a plan for recovery that can be finished and done with. Yeah. We don't write it out. No, we're going to be doing this the rest of our lives. Okay. And is it a plan? Yeah, it's a plan for the arrestment. But from there, no. What we need to do is live our lives as best we can without hurting God's children. Okay. And those are just that's just the very beginning of the simple stuff, right? Okay, we're not mean to God's children, but we got to go that as arrested alcoholics or as arrested food addicts, it is imperative for us to continue to give it away if we are to keep what it is that we have. If we don't give it away, you don't get to keep it. It's the rule. AA is the ultimate pay it forward. We've been doing it successfully for 87 years now. It is a way of life, and the challenge contained in its principles, the AA principles. So it is a way of life, and the challenge contained in its principles is great enough to keep any human being striving for as long as he lives. Okay. Now, I've been doing this off and on for quite some time, and I barely even touched the tip of the iceberg. All right. There is so much more. So there's a lot of people that I rely on that are experts in other areas. See, I don't need to learn everything. But what I do need to do is make sure that I have connections with people that have that. Good example. A friend had sent another friend. They had a son who's binge drinking. He's trying and he does want to stop. And we spoke last Sunday, right? Not yesterday, but last Sunday. And I've been wondering all week. And I got a message from her this morning that Christmas is, woo, you've been drinking. He's like, we need she asked, could you please help? I think this family needs an intervention. And I told her, of course we can. I happen to know one of the best interventions in Colorado. I do. Amy Moore. Yep. I was going to send Amy a message today, but I haven't heard back from this other lady. So I'm going to wait. Actually, I probably will send her a message today. So we cannot outgrow this plan. No, that doesn't happen. There is no outgrowing life. You don't outgrow God. Okay. And none of us, okay. The day you are perfect is the day you're dead. Does that make sense? It's the only time I'm going to be perfect because from there I go to his perfection. It's the only time I'll be perfect. But I'm striving to that perfection. Right? One day it'll click. Some people have a hard time with that. It took a couple years for me for that all to click. You know. As arrested alcoholics, we must have a program for living that allows for limitless expansion. When we are put in a box, it doesn't do us much good. That'll drive us crazy, man. We need to be able to explore. We need to be able to go out into the world and find these different things. Okay. But we're not going to be able to do that until we get all this garbage inside of us out. Until we can stand in the sunlight of the Spirit as a child of God. Okay. Keeping one foot in front of the other is essential for maintaining our arrestment. Action and more action. Every day requires some kind of action. If you are no longer on steps 1, 2, and 3, your life should be about action. It's what keeps us sober. However, others may idle in a retrogressive groove without too much danger, but retrogression can spell death for us. Yeah, it can for us. And they even say may. No, it doesn't work for it. No, nobody wants to be put in a box. Don't put baby in a corner. Nobody likes that shit. I love when people are like, think outside the box. I'm like, where did this box come from? And why are we in it? Who put me in a box? I didn't put me in a box. Put me in a box. Fuck you. What they're saying is expand your horizons. Okay. There's lots of stuff out there to discover. Okay. However, this isn't as rough as it sounds, as we do become grateful for the necessity that makes us toe the line. And we find that we are compensated for the consistent effort by the countless dividends we receive. I talk about the dividends all the time. Gratitude, happiness, joy, serenity, peace. These are all dividends from a job well done. And those are the gifts we receive. And they are more valuable than anything else in the world. A complete change takes place in our approach to life. Where we used to run from responsibility, we find ourselves accepting it with gratitude that we can successfully shoulder it. I'll give you a great one for alcoholics, right? Police are behind you. So what? We don't care no more. Does it? Right? That's what we're talking about. We would run from something like that. Now, if a cop pulls us over, we're like, I'm so legal. I'm so legal. Pull me over. Come on, pull me over. I'm legal. So that's how we are. Instead of wanting to escape some perplexing problem, we experience the thrill of a challenge and the opportunity it affords for another application of AA techniques. And we find ourselves tackling it with surprising vigor. Okay. What are they saying? Have hard conversations. Make hard conversations normal. My wife and I don't have hard conversations anymore. We don't. It isn't, I don't really want to. No, we don't do that anymore. Okay. Now it's, hey, I forgot to tell you. That's more what it is. Like tonight, I found out that we're babysitting. So the last 15 years of my life have been rich and meaningful. Yeah, huh, Chris? We can actually walk up to police officers now. I respect police. I'm I like police officers. The only time I didn't like police officers is when I was doing something wrong. But I've met a lot of cops, and most of them are really, really cool. All right, that's nice of you, Gary. I've had my share of problems, heartaches, and disappointments because that is life. But I've also known a great deal of joy and peace that is the handmaiden of an inner freedom. Inner freedom, not outer. See, we clamor for freedom on this and that, right? Yeah, generally they do. There's always bad apples in everything, right? There's bad apples in recovery. So I have a wealth of friends. Now, a wealth of friends does not mean that they have a bunch. Okay. That's not, I used to think a wealth of friends meant that they had like hundreds of friends. No, it's the type of relationships that they're having with those people. At least that's how I take it because I don't have many friends. All right. With my AA friends, an unusual quality of fellowship. For these people, I am truly related. First, through mutual pain and despair, and later through mutual objectives and newfound faith and hope. You know, this is what's neat about 12-step groups. Because they are your people, and like overeaters tend to think like overeaters do, alcoholics think like alcoholics, I mean, that we have that common bond. So when we come in here, there's a lot of people who think that their problems are so big nobody else goes through them. And the last thing that we want to do when we come in is come in and fucking explain everything again. Isn't it nice that we don't have to? We can come into a meeting and said, you know what, stuff is going on, and I'm just I feeling lonely, and that's all you need to say in the meeting. And that whole group, they'll gather, They can't help it. They can't help it. God is now directing on what's going on. Okay, that right there is a huge relief to a lot of people. See, we tend to think that newcomers want to come in and just blather away, right? But no, they don't. A lot of times you ask a newcomer to speak, they're like, no. We're like, that's okay. You're not required to, right? Some do go on. That's okay. And as the years go by, working together, sharing our experience with one another, and also sharing a mutual trust, understanding, and love without strings, without obligations, we acquire relationships that are unique and priceless. There is no more aloneness with that awful ache so deep in the heart of every alcoholic that nothing before could ever reach. That ache is gone and never need return again. That ache, and I know what it's like, that ache can be so bad that it can kill you. Sure. People die of heartbreak all the time. Now there's a sense of belonging, of being wanted and needed and loved. That's huge. Not just wanted, not just needed, but wanted. There's a big difference between want and need. Okay. I need you in my life means it's kind of, I want you in my life means I appreciate everything about you. Now there's a sense of belonging. In return for a bottle and a hangover, we have been given the keys to the kingdom. Woo-hoo. All right. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Christmas. So Broncos lost yesterday, so I ain't got nothing to worry about today. So cool stuff. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It was good having you, Chris and Gary. Good to see you both. Have fun at your meetings tonight, Gary. Thank you, everybody. I love you. Peace out.